Hey guys, my name is Robert and I'm here with my family in Ecuador, and I wanted to show you a new um, idea on witching. And witching, there's a lot of videos on YouTube. That's great. But this particular one that I'm going to show you that we're going to witch has some unique features about it. And I wanted to show it to you because those unique features are going to help you in your witching when you're doing this. Now, the first thing to understand is I'm not a grand wizard. I'm not even a partial wizard. I am just a normal person, which means you can do this yourself. So what I'm going to teach you, you have the ability to do this. The first thing I want to tell you is this is number 12 wire. It's just copper wire you can buy at the hardware store. If you buy 3 feet of this, they should sell it by the foot. You can buy 3 feet. This was not bare. I went and I stripped the wire coating off of it to make it bare so that it would detect the electromagnetism in the atmosphere much better. So it's just a number 12 wire. Take the insulation off and you're good to go. So what I did was I made two 18-inch pieces. They were straight, and then I bent this one from here to here at 6 inches, and I bent this one from here to here at 12 inches. So this is 12, this is 6. The 6-inch is the part that you're going to hang on to, and you're just going to grip it loosely in your hand so that it can spin and it can go in circles, okay? So you're going to make 2 of them, because ideally what you're looking for when you're looking for water is you want these guys to cross. And when I take you over here and I show you what's going on, that's what you're going to see. But something that's more significant than that is you're going to see this thing start spinning in a circle. And when it does that, the reason that I wanted to do this video is because hopefully I could teach you a little bit more than just witching, which is getting them to cross like this. What that means is this copper is confused. It doesn't know what is going on. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. And what it normally does is it just triggers on a water source, a water line, a root that's full of water, or an underground spring or stream. That's what you're trying to locate. But every now and then what you're going to find is that when you get a lot of water going on, you're going to get saturation in the soil. And when you get saturation in the soil, what's going to happen is the rods are going to start going in circles, because they're telling you there's water all around you. You're literally standing on a pond of water that's buried in the soil. So please understand that that's one of the things that I'm trying to teach you. And I'm going to show you this over here. 3 feet of wire at the hardware store. You can make 2 18-inch pieces, and then you have witching sticks. And basically, that's all you need. There's no magic. There's nothing about this. You're just using the atmosphere and you're using the water in the soil to conduct electricity. And these conductors are going to pick up on that water, because water is a good conductor, and it's going to go through the atmosphere, and that's what you're picking up on. You're picking up on the magnetic flux of the Earth's core through water and through copper. So we're using copper because it conducts electricity really well, and we're detecting water because it conducts electricity really well. These things will basically only detect 2 things. One of them is gold and one of them is water. So if you're using these things, you can actually use them to find gold, because gold, again, is a very good conductor of electricity. We don't have gold around here. You'd have to go 2 hours west to find gold. So we're pretty sure that if these things are registering on anything, it's going to be water around here. So anyway, I'm going to take you over there. We're going to mark this thing out, and I'm going to show you something else that's very significant, and hopefully this will help you read the soil much better so you can see what's in the soil without having to dig it up. I'm going to work my way uphill. Water flows downhill, but I'm after the source. I want to know where the source is. There's water in here. It's saturated. These guys don't know what to make of it. They're trying to find the river, but they can't find it because there's so much water. But if we go back this way, we can get them to line up. Leo, give me another flag. So what I wanted to show you was two things. Number one, it can detect the river, but the other thing it's detecting when it starts going in circles is it's detecting water on both sides. It says there's water all the way around it. It's everywhere. That's why we know this is not rock. Rock wouldn't be saturated like that. So this is a river, but the river has saturated all of this ground right through here. And that's why the sticks are confused. It's about right in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow that up into here, and I'm going to see if I can get another reading up here. So it says there's one right here. There's one right here. Leo, can I get a steak? So water here, and water over here. You can see that it's starting to get wild. So when they're open like this, that means it's just normal ground. There's nothing there. But when it starts spinning, that means it's detecting water underneath here somewhere. And when it closes like that, that's water. So I'm looking for the sweet spot. You can see it opens up. There's nothing there. If I go back, it tells me exactly where it's at. It's right there. So if I look through here, I'm gonna see a straight line. All the flags line up. Boom, 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 out into there. And it's always going uphill. So the question is, where's that one? We know where this one is. It's heading right through here. It's heading for this big tree out in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in over here because it's open. See if I can find that. right here. I'll drop this one. Can't get anything. Nada. Nothing. If I'm back, it's just getting confused because there's a lot of water down there. It says the main amount of water is right here. Boom. So basically, it's right about here. Okay. Now, you can see I bent my rod. So just bend it back straight. Doesn't need to be perfect. You're good to go. So the things want to swing, which means saturation. But they didn't swing over there. They're swinging over here, which means it came out of rock and now it's into soil. And that's good for us because what we want to do is we want to dig through the soil, not rock, so we can tie the tube into the rock. But what I also wanted to show you on this was that this is really significant in that the water is pointing in this direction and it's coming right through here in a really straight line, and it's not detecting saturation. It's not going in circles like this. It's not doing that. It's just straight. So that tells me that this is rock. So rock is important because it's really clean water, and that's where we want to put our pipe into the rock if we can. So we want to get rid of the dirt out of the way and find a place where this thing can flow from its height freely into that valley. And we can gravity feed it through our tube or pipe about that big, inch and a half, and run it right down the valley into a tank. Gravity feed, no power, so hopefully it's not very deep. So we're hoping 1 meter, no more than 2 meters down. So anyway, my point is that if we draw this line through here, what you're going to notice, and this is what's really significant, this is why I really wanted to do the video, is that how the water changed course the minute it got from rock to soil. And here's what it did. It almost turned exactly 90 degrees. It's going in this direction, and now it's going in this direction. It turned and it took off this way. And it's heading for that valley because it wants the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance is this valley. It's the closest valley to this source of water. So it comes through the rock, gets into the soil, and it's had thousands of years to figure out that this is the path of least resistance. So the water is probably all over in through here, but the bulk of it is going right through here. That's where we detected 2 streams. One of them is over here and it's heading this way, and the other one's over here underneath this big tree, and it's going right through here and it's heading that way. And when it got down there, the reason that the copper was going in circles was it was confused, and it was detecting water all over the place. It was detecting water was saturated all through the soil because it was pinned between two streams. This one's saturated this way, this one's saturated this way, and everything between those two streams became saturated. But here's what's even more important that should help you when you're witching. If you look at the shape of these two streams, you'll notice that they're in the shape of a V. They're like this. And they start from one point. So both of these are heading right up into here in this area. And they've connected, they've collided into one spot. So if we locate all three of these using telemetry, we'll find that this one comes over here, this one comes over here, and this one comes this way. So these two are crossing right here, and this one tells me that it's crossing right here. So somewhere in here, the rock is giving way to soil. And that's what we want. That's what we're looking for. So we don't want to dig over here. We want to dig over here. And once we find where the water's coming in to our ditch or our trench, we can follow it backwards into this rock and actually locate the rock. So what am I talking about? I'm going to take you to one that we've already finished. The pipe has not been attached to the rock yet. And I'm going to show you what you're looking for. And I'm going to show you what you should find down here. And this one's similar to what I think is going to happen here. Please keep in mind that this is Ecuador. It might not be the same geology in your area. So what I'm talking about works here in Ecuador. It might not work in your area. So don't take everything that I'm saying 100%. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to teach you some different techniques on how to read the soil and read what's in the soil underground. We don't have an x-ray machine. The closest we have is these witching sticks. So if we can understand how to read the witching sticks and what they're trying to tell us, then that will give you a better idea to understand the location of the water and which way it's flowing. Please keep in mind, water does not flow uphill. So when you're reading the witching sticks, you have to read them as if the water's coming from the high end of the ground and it's heading down to the lower part of the ground. So just keep that in mind, that you got to put a little bit of common sense into what is the water doing. It's not flowing uphill, it's flowing downhill. And it's looking for the path of least resistance. So once you understand all that and you can mark out where this thing is going, most of the time you're only going to have one source, one river. The reason this was so unique and I wanted to show it to you is because there was two rivers here flowing into one that's underground, and they were in a V shape, which is what they should be, because the water, once it hits soil, it should come out in one spot, maybe two, but it should fan out because of the resistance of the soil, and it should slow that water down to where it wants to saturate the whole entire ground. And it should be in a V shape, which means the farther it goes down the hill, the wider the water is going to get, the source of the water. So that should help you follow it backwards. So if you ever get into a situation where your witching sticks are doing circles and they're doing this, or going in circles, understand that that's a source of water and you're standing right on top of it. And that source of water is going to be most likely at the high end of wherever that land is going up. And so my point is, if there's water saturated in the ground here, all you have to do is get this V shape out of that underground pond and look for the center, and that's your source of water, because that's really what you're looking for. You're looking for the source. What made this thing all wet? Well, it's this line right through here, and this line is probably a crack. It's a fracture in the rock where the rock opened up and the water followed that crack right on through until it got to the soil where it could get loose, and then it just went nuts. And in here, it didn't just continue down that way. It actually changed course. It actually turned 90 degrees and it took off that way. So my only conclusion to that is, why did it do that? Because it figured out over 100 years or whatever that that valley was down there and that was the path of least resistance. So the water went in that direction. And it didn't do it once, but it did it twice. We got two rivers going in that direction, right through here up to this source of water. So this is where we're going to be digging. I'll try to do a follow-up video later on so I can show you what we find down here. And it should be pretty interesting to see what's going on down here. I don't know. Again, this is not 100%. It's just speculation on my part, but it's speculation on my part through here that this is rock because there's no saturation on either side. And it's speculation on my part that from here over is soil because this is saturated. The water spread out and it went sideways. It didn't do that over here. So what are we looking for? We're looking for the rock, but we want the source of rock where it pops out of the rock where we can put a tube into it and cement that in. That's what we're looking for. So I'm going to stop. Hopefully this gives you a couple new ideas on what you're looking for and how to read these a little bit better. I'm going to take you down to this other one and I'm going to show you the finished product. We are at another spring and I wanted to use this one as a kind of a before shot and this one as an after shot so you could see what it looks like when it's done. Now what we did here was we dug on this for about 2 weeks. We dug up the hill following the water source. So we found it down there because it actually popped out of the ground. And we followed it and it was basically down about 8-10 inches deep. It wasn't down very deep. And then, but when we got down here, it started getting down about 3-4 feet deep. So we started tunneling in and we tunneled in about 8 feet hoping that we could hit the rock because this hill was starting to get steep. So where the hills get steep, if you have like a plain or semi-flat over here and then all of a sudden you got a hill right here, this hill is here because it's made out of rock. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for rock. You want solid rock. This hill is stuck around for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years because of its really hard soil. And down here, this is eroded because of the soft soils. So you want to tunnel in or dig down until you get to this rock area where it gets steep. And that's where you'll find the water. But more importantly, you'll find the water where there's actual rock. So I'm going to show you that right now because we finally were scared because of how far we had tunneled in. So we decided to come up here and dig a shaft down and then start tunneling again. But when we dug the shaft, we actually hit the rock. So anyway, I'm going to show that to you right now. Okay, so I'm in the hole. I'm coming down. And there's the water. And there is the rock. So we're going to put our pipe right here. And we're going to cement this in right where the rocks are. And this is a reverse view of where the water is going, and it's going through this tunnel that we dug right on out. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what you're looking for. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Good luck with your witching.